it going? My name is Edgar Ibar, and I'm very grateful for all the knowledge I received at the Illinois Media School. My 15-year career in radio has been a dream come true. I'm a radio DJ, I'm on the air, and I get to be a program director for 2 radio stations in Wisconsin. My dream became a reality with the Illinois Media School. Illinois Media School is a great school with great teachers and former students now working in the industry today on the radio stations you listen to and on the TV stations you watch every day. Illinois Media School, check it out. For more details, beonair.com.
I couldn't have said it better myself. This is Jonathan Hood, instructor at the Illinois Media School, formerly Illinois Center for Broadcasting. So many reasons for you to consider Illinois Media School: financial aid for those who qualify, real-world hands-on experience, internships, and so much more. Don't just take my word for it. Set up a tour at one of the 2 Chicagoland locations. Go to beonair.com/Chicago Sports to learn more. That's beonair.com/Chicago Sports.
Ring ceremonies and previews. So stay tuned with us, rock with us, and welcome to the show. Dragon Sports Live, baby, in the house. If y'all want to comment, go to ChicagolandSportsRadio.com and tune in. Or if you got the TuneIn app, tune in that way. And if you follow me on live, leave a comment, drop your name. And if you got music, send that clean music to me at dragonjumppro@gmail.com. Like I said, it's going to be an exciting show today. We're going to give you the rundown of Bears and the NFL. And we're going to talk about Bulls and NBA. Oh, yeah, that's right. NBA is back. So, with that being said, we're going to give you Plow by Asha Marie here on Dragon Sports Live. Here's Plow.
Forget the burner, put it in the furnace with all that other nonsense. Walk with me, Lord, walk with me. She said, open the casket so everybody sees this. Look how he was beating, look how he was treated. I saw the sight eyes too much for the screen. But in 20-something teen, we still don't believe it. Got strong every meal that my mama fed. Wisdom in her word, I can feel what my mama said. Mama's carrying sons, another son is dead. Wish I could catch every tear that my mama shed. Faceless, hips afternoons and dark hair. Underground railroad, Rosa Park there. A queen in the field, no room, it's not fair. Black girl magic like snow to start there. Sugar to spicy, daily and nightly. The world on your shoulders with a kid on the right. They taking on life's limits, adding it to an ice tea. I'm a Hilliard Jackson, get spirituals in the right key.
Welcome back to another edition of Dragon Sports Live. So, as I said before, we're going to give y'all NBA, NFL breakdown, and we're going to give you news, sports, and news. We're going to give like it's real. But speaking on NBA, Butler is set to play tonight. Even though the trade talks and he has been in the news a lot lately and in the headlines, he's set to play tonight. And only thing he said he was going to do is try not to get kicked out the game because he's frustrated with the team, but he's also frustrated with the management. He wants to be traded, and it hasn't been done. And it's just simply because I think his asking price is way too high. What they asking for him, they're trying to get a bunch of good players and draft picks, and Butler just trying to find a new place so he can go to town, be him. Like Butler's a 4-time All-Star. So the fact that this is, he's surrounding him in this drama is kind of crazy, but it's business. Like, if this is not running right, you move on. You go to the next thing. That's simple. They set the square off tonight against the Spurs in San Antonio, but we don't know. Like, if you know where he gonna go, or if you got a comment of where he want to go, send your comments in. Let's talk Butler for a second. He hasn't really been on the court like this past 2 weeks was the first time that he did on court activities in a while. And he literally just that's just how frustrated he is. He's like he wants to go. He wants the management to be better. And it's just like, you know, Tibbs went pretty much got mostly Bulls players because you got Rose, you got Gibson, you even got Brooks, I think, still coming off the bench. And you thought this newfound team with Andrew Wiggins and Karl Anthony Towns and Jeff Teague and Butler added into the mix, it's just like, what y'all gonna do? What they gonna do? I thought they was gonna be clicking like they made it to the playoffs last year. And then all of a sudden now they're not. It's just all no holds bar. Everyone just like Butler just attacking everyone. He literally took a whole third stringers and beat the starting lineup, beat all the stars. So he just been on a tear lately because of that. But since we talking NBA though, NBA season is here. NBA season is back in full effect. Yesterday was opening night for the NBA. And what better way to start the season off? So, the Boston Celtics and the Philadelphia 76ers faced off yesterday. Embiid had 23 points and 10 rebounds in that game, while Simmons had 19, 15, and 8. Simmons is on tap to average another triple-double like he did his rookie season. His shot has gotten better. Like I actually watched that game. He's looking like he was putting in work over the summer, doing it and going in and all that. And now he's back. Like now he's back in another season, and he already got 19 points on the board, 15 boards, and 8. He was too shy for getting that triple double. On the other hand, Embiid 23 and 10, and the way he prepared for the game was by watching Richard and Monty for the game, and he was saying that this game is not the series between the Celtics and the Sixers is not a rivalry game, but on the contrary, I think it you just made it a rivalry. Like, let's see. Also, JJ Redick gave you 16 points off the bench too, as well. Those are the only three players who scored in double digits for the Sixers. Now, on the other hand, we had Jason Tatum, who had a wonderful night, 23 and 9. When you get Morris coming off the bench with 16 and 10, Brown gave you 12, and Gordon Hayward and Kyrie Irving. It's their first games back, and they was a little sluggish though. But Gordon Hayward gave you 10 points, with Terry Rozier gave you 11 and 8 boards coming off the bench. So speaking of sluggish night, it was a sluggish night for both teams. It was like we wasn't playing all preseason. It just the way they was playing last night looked like they wasn't playing at all over the summer. They wasn't doing anything. It just was a off night, a horrible shooting night for both teams. But it was slightly better for the Celtics. While we talking about that, let's give you a breakdown of this. Let's start with the Sixers first. The 76ers was 34 from 87. That's 39% from the field. And then 19.2 from three-point range. Free throw percentage was only 58% from the free throw line. Celtics, on the other hand, 42 of 97 shots. That's 43% from the field. 11 of 37 from three-point range is 30%. So you see the edge right there. The Celtics had the slight edge over there as far as shooting percentage goes, especially from three. Irving and Hayward, like I said, their first games back, they combined for 6 of 26 for the game. Irving didn't start scoring really until to the third quarter, basically. He had just 2 points at halftime, and then third quarter he started scoring. He finished the game off with 7 and 7 assists. And if you like, this is supposed to be that big five that that they was talking about. Like, you got your small forward back, you got Kyrie back, who left towards the end of the season for knee surgery, so he missed the end of the regular season and playoffs. So those key factors, and Kyrie, to me, he is a key factor that you need. Like, when you need a bucket or need a foul, Kyrie is that guy. Like, he can drive to the basket, lay it in, and get fouled and still make the shot. That's just how versatile he is. And then Hayward, he hasn't played since opening light of last year, so he's still shaking off the rust. But he had adrenaline pumping, and he actually quoted saying that it was fun to be back out there because he hasn't been out there in such a long time. I would give them a couple more games, and you will see more life out of them. But they still helped their team win. In that win, the bench outscored the 76ers 44-26. That's crazy, right? Also, Boston won 10 straight games against Philly and won their last 15 in that series. They're 15 of 17, so that was just a start point. And like I said, it's open season. It's a long season ahead. You will play them again. Sixers going to probably bring a whole different ball game, a whole different mindset coming to that next game. Moving right along. So the next game for the Sixers will be Thursday as they host the Chicago Bulls, who's out without Larry Marketing, and the Celtics will host the Raptors. And then we also have a couple games coming on tonight, but I'll give you that in what I call You pick them and choose them. But before then, we're going to keep it real up in here. We're going to keep moving along. Slick J House,
You know what I'm on, I just want to keep it real. Nonsense, lie. Like you the only one I wanna be with in this whole wide world. Get it. I'm feeling you. Now I'm wanting you. Girl, we can talk games. Girl, I wanna just just for one night. I'll keep you satisfied. Girl, I wanna just that's how you cut out all of the crying, the hurting, and weeping. That's how you cut out conniving, sneaking, and scheming. And you will never have to worry about me playing last games. You know what it is. I know what it is. We on the same page, 'cause I'm feeling you. Right now I'm wanting you. Girl, we can talk games. Girl, I wanna just just for one night. I'll keep you satisfied. Girl, I wanna just girl, you know I gotta keep it real. I know you ain't used to a man keeping it real. I know you wanna keep it real. I gotta tell you how I really feel. I'm feeling you. Now I'm wanting you. Just for one night, I'll keep you satisfied.
welcome back to Dragon Radio here on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com. I'm Dante Payne. If you just tuning in, and that last song you heard was called Keep It Real by Slick J Adams. So we was talking NBA opening night for the Celtics and 76ers. Let's go over to another team who had opening night too, on that played on opening night. And that was Golden State versus OKC. OKC was without Russell Westbrook in that game, but Golden State bling. They got their rings that day. Oh my word. So they just became the first team in history to get a reversible ring. So like one side is blue with blue diamonds on there, the other side is white diamonds. You twist the top off and it literally says strength in numbers. The ring was so stoned out that I had to grab my shades to look at that ring as I was watching it on TV. But on top of ring night, Golden State and OKC was in an all-out battle in that game, but Steph Curry put up 32 points in that game. 32. Like, he was on a tear. He was 5 from 9 from 3. And he was literally just shooting with hands all up in his face, left and right. So I thought that was like, I thought it was kind of crazy, but he went off. Opening night, got to celebrate. And since they were without Russ, you didn't really have that extra spunk to keep you forward, keep you moving within that. So, and man, like my cousin just said, the ring was a game changing. Yeah. Big ups to Jason of Beverly Hills who did that job. Rings was super dope. But we're gonna give you a little bit of commercial break, and after this match, we're gonna give you more sports talk on Dragon Sports Live on Chicagoland Sports Radio.
Chicagoland Sports Radio is your home for all the latest Chicago sports news. CSR is not only the home to entertaining and informative shows in Chicago, but covers all the top college and high school games as well. And bigger, listen regularly to daytime sports, broadcasting live from State Street and Cypress. For all of the news and interviews, you can choose Chicago Sports Radio. Chicagoland Sports Radio. It's not just sports, it's a way.
What you doing? Don't eat that sandwich during the game. Why not? That sandwich is cursed and unsportsmanlike. It will cause the Sox to lose. What do you mean? Sandwiches is not a sports food to eat, huh? And what should I eat? Get yourself some boneless wings from Buffalo Wild Wings. You have the choice from sweet to blazing sauce. When you eat Buffalo Wild Wings, you can make any team you support win. Really? Damn. Try these spicy wings from Buffalo Wild Wings and watch the Sox win. Now watch it be amazed. But what those are really tasty. And the Sox really did win. Yep. See, told you. Best way to do it is with Buffalo Wild Wings. Can't go wrong with wings. The best sports food in the world. Stop at your local store or go into your local Buffalo Wild Wings. Grab your boneless wings today. Anytime you play, any place, get the Buffalo Wild Wings. And be amazed at what happens.
I think she cheating on me. And I can't let go of it. Nation is winning. The tide of your flipping, you know, gymnast, I'm sweet and splendid. So why you acting sour? Everything was tremendous. You think you started titanium, and now you ain't bending. Your friends is phony, why they lonely? I'm tired of they bitching. When sipping, when chickens get drunk, they short the dimensions. No longer 3D, but two-faced. Barbie dead, like them old apartments. I wish your girls just far from it. Relax, like Mario, I will never far from you. We can be like Kendrick, knowing all the things that lovers do. Private yachts, make it move with private parts with private plots. We don't need to toilet, keep the private style. You can make love for both of us, I got you moving. They don't know what we can do, it's always just us two. Before my opinion, the destination is one. I'm tired of hate flipping, ain't no chemistry. I think she cheating on me, and I can't let go of it. Making houses flashing cars, trying to be you all star. You just break me blind them all. Rob Johnson, we walking tall. I'm never lonely when you with me, but first I will call. Whatever was, you know we got that love. Like we was J&B, you know we got that buzz. Limelight, together my rhyme tight, my main title. And I need the title. My rival, see the Eiffel, being with you. I wanna be nowhere else. You see me by myself, with nobody else. That's just the way I feel. Baby fall in love with the princess. She's so elegant. I wanna be the prince. I think she's cheating on me, and I can't let go of it. I think she's cheating on me, and I can't let go of it. When we started this, I was so confused. Didn't know just where to turn that baby up my fuse, baby up my fire, baby in my ride or die. Anywhere you lead me, boy, it's gonna be worth my while. Baby up my heart, baby up my whole, baby you're the one I wanna be with till we're old. This is love for everything, I feel it in my soul. You're my lover and my friend, I'll never let you go. 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 It would go this far. Folks been trying to break us up from the very start. People steady talking back and forth, gossiping about you. But I tune out all the noise, 'cause to me you're the truth. I respect your hustle, I respect your grind. Always keep it real with me, say what's on your mind. Share your every thought, share what's in your heart. You already know the deal, you had me from the start. Never let you go. 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 Never let you go.
never let you go. Never let you go.
What I gotta do now?
Ooh, ooh, ooh. What I gotta do now? To keep my shawty in. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Keep us going through the storm. Making last, girl, I'll always be. Never let it go. Never let you go. Never let you go. Never let you go. Never let you go.
Lights, camera, action. Hey there, I'm Dante Payne. I am the founder and CEO of Dragon Jump Productions. Dragon Jump Productions specializes in media production based in Chicago. We offer services in graphic design, photography, as well as videography. We also work with models as well. So if you got an idea for where you need to be branding, let us help you pick your brand. Dragon Jump Productions will claw their way into stardom, making you look great. So if you want to book that next photo shoot with Dragon Jump Productions, reach out to dragonjump@gmail.com or call 773-892-4514. Again, that's dragonjumppro@gmail.com or call 773-892-4514. Let us take you and make you great. Book now. Dragon Jump Productions.
Chicagoland Sports Radio is your home for all of the latest Chicago sports news. CSR is not only the home to the most entertaining and informative shows in Chicago, but covers all the top college and high school games as well. Big guests and bigger personalities. This is your home for the greatest debates in sports. Broadcasting live from State Street in the South Loop. For all of the news, analysts, and interviews to keep you informed, log on to ChicagolandSportsRadio.com to listen live. Chicagoland Sports Radio is not just sports, it's a way of life.
Welcome back to Dragon Sports Live. I'm Dante Payne. If you just tuning in, I love the sound of my name when I say it. Ooh, it makes me feel so good. But moving on. So NFL last week was kind of crazy, extremely crazy. Let's see. Let me. Where do I start? Eagles and Giants. Let's start with them. That first half of that game for the Giants looked horrible. Second half did too, but it was just like they kept throwing screen passes to Odell Beckham Jr. like across field screen passes to the right side, and then expect him to go. And then he didn't go deep at all. They went deep to Saquon Barkley more than they went to Odell Beckham. So what is that saying for the league? What direction are y'all going away from Odell Beckham Jr., who's your elite receiver? I think I want to agree that I think y'all are. Saquon Barkley is a beast. He's like, he's kind of like Adrian Peterson when he first got in the league. I'll talk about that in a second. And they literally, it was like basically the only two receivers that I seen touch the ball really in that game was Barkley and Odell Beckham. When on the other hand, where you had the Eagles showing like we're still that playoff team. We're here. Even though it's against the Giants, I want to see them do it against a better team, I want to see that same spunk coming out in this week. Then we had the Buccaneers and Falcons. And by the way, all these games, except a few of them, was very close. Except the Eagles and Giants, of course. That score was 34-13, in case y'all wondering. But the Buccaneers and Falcons, that game was 29-34. Another close battle. Like, I thought the Buccaneers was going to end up pulling that game out, but they couldn't. They couldn't hold on. So that was that. Falcons pulled that off, and I feel like the Falcons needed that win after they suffered a loss 2 weeks ago. Now they needed that win because now they're 2-4, so they needed that win. And then the Buccaneers are 2-3, so it was a nice win against a division rivalry. You feel me? Chargers and Browns, on the other hand, Chargers led the way through the whole entire game. It was 38-14. And the Seahawks, that game, Seahawks versus the Raiders, that game right there, I was kind of laughing at because it was like every time I look at like the Raiders, I'm not used to the Raiders getting killed like that. But the Seahawks put up 27 points and kept the Raiders to just a field goal. One field goal. That's all they kept them to. And the fans was actually criticizing John Gruden, and he kind of fired back at him. But it's like, you let go of your pass rush, your best pass rusher, and then you cry and say, "Hey, it'll be better if we had a good pass rusher." You did. You let him go. You gift wrapped him to the Bears and shipped them off. And look what he's doing. They got the second best defense in the league. Bills, on the other hand, the Bills lost Josh Allen in that game against the Texans, and they also lost the game 13-20. But they lost because they lost Josh Allen. They did not want to turn to Nathan Peterman. They went out and signed Derek Anderson. So Nathan Peterman has 10 interceptions total. Like his first couple games in the league, when I remember this like it was yesterday, he literally threw 2 interceptions back to back. When Tyrod went down, when they benched him, he threw an interception again to the point where they had to put Tyrod back in there. So it's like he's what you call a quarterback buzz. Like, you got all the good reviews and all this and all that when they drafted you and they seen something in you, but where is it? Because you constantly throwing interceptions like you're throwing, not even looking at where you're throwing. You're just throwing the ball in the air, hoping one of your teammates get it. So they end up signing Derek Anderson, who's set to start this week instead of Peterman. Derek Anderson is their number 3 quarterback, and Peterman was number 2, but now Peterman is number 3. We also had the Ravens shut out the Titans 21-0. Where was the team that we was like, oh, the Titans could actually make the playoffs this year, cruise on to the Super Bowl? Not happening in that game. We'll see this week in their next game, but not in that game. Not in that game. Maybe not against the Chargers this week either. We'll see. It may be a different ball game. Steelers and Bengals, another close game, which most of these games was either by a field goal or touchdown. Steelers pulled it off in the fourth quarter in the last closing seconds of the game. And they went crazy. That score was 28-21 against the Bengals. Rams, on the other hand, is the only team right now in the league that's undefeated. They won 23-20 again by a field goal or touchdown against the Broncos. And I thought the Broncos was gonna give them their first loss. They came really close, but the thing about completing games, closing it out, that's always an issue with some of these teams. Now, the number one ranked defense, on the other hand, you got shut out 42-7 against the Cowboys. But that goes to saying when Dak Prescott and Zeke Elliott, when they get their yardage, so if Prescott's getting 200 plus yards in the air and Elliott's getting 20 plus carries a game, they usually win. And it shows looking at the score, 40-7. They usually win. I love you too, Auntie Yvonne. And then we had the Cardinals and Vikings. Vikings pulled off a win against the Cardinals, but they playing against the Cardinals, who this season is not looking too good for them right now. That score was 27-17. Now, a game that everybody had a heart attack over, felt disappointed over, was the Chicago Bears and the Miami Dolphins. That game came down to a wire of a field goal. It was 28-31. Bears lose that game. And they started out that game kind of horrible. Like, it was like they couldn't move the ball that much. And every time I turned, they was kicking the ball off to Miami. And then it came alive in the second half. Like, in the second half, going into halftime, it was 21-7. And then come out of halftime, Bears came, caught up, and it was like they was going tick for tack in this whole game. Brock Osweiler, who was the starting quarterback because Ryan Tannehill was out, and he still would be out due to his shoulder, throwing touchdowns with Trubisky. Like, they was playing TikTok. It was like, oh, you going to get a big play? I'm going to get a big play. You going to get a big play? I'm going to get a big play. Josh Howard fumble on the 1 yard line, and then Frank, I think that was his name, he fumbled on the 1 yard line. So, like I said, they was going tick for tag. Going super tick for tag. And they can't, and Parkey had a chance to win the game, but missed that field goal. And then Dolphins came down and kicked the field goal. Like, they moved the ball. So that tick for tack battle was going. But, and on the other hand, the Green Bay Packers pulled off a win in the exact same fashion, 30-33. That game was also close. That was going down to the wire. But you got the comeback kid of Aaron Rodgers, who always finds a way. It's like, if you got the lead on Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers in the fourth quarter and there's that much time left, best believe he's going to come back. If you give him, they call him Mr. Hail Mary. If you give him, let's give you an estimate of 60 seconds, he can move the ball down in 20. So, like, or I should say 20 seconds. 20 seconds is a lot of time for him. So it's like, and he literally drove them down into field goal range on just a few passes. And then they kicked the field goal to win the game. So with that being said, the Bears need to win the game this week. Because right now, they're still currently in first right now. Because of that tie with the Vikings. And so basically this whole NFC North, if we're looking at standings, right? What's up, Ashley? Looking at standings. So we got Bears 3-2. Packers 3-2-1. Vikings 3-2-1, and Lions 2-3. So the NFC North division is gonna be a crazy division down the wire. It's gonna be a no holds barred grudge match, and the Bears gotta try to pull out a win. And their next game is here this Sunday at 12 p.m. against the New England Patriots, which is going to be kind of hard for them to do, depending on which Patriots we get in that game. If Khalil Mack can get sacked, oh yeah. Khalil Mack didn't have no sack against the Dolphins. They was held to 0 sacks that game. So we can get our sack game against the Patriots and force him to either run the ball to use White more or just stop them on defense in general, we should be able to pull out the W. And if we keep playing our great offense again that I noticed steadily improves each and every day, the Bears can pull off the win this Sunday against the Patriots here in Chicago. We got the Jets versus the Vikings as well. And yeah, those are pretty much the games that you should be looking for. As far as division, oh yeah, Dolphins versus Lions. And the Packers are on a bye this week. So let's watch these games closely. Let's watch come down the wire as we enter week 7 of the NFL. With that being said, I have another song for you. This is another song from Slick J. Adams. His song is called So Good. You want to be good? You gotta be good. Work at it. Keep striving for your goals, no matter what. So good with Slick J. Adams.
Everywhere you go, it's turning left and right. Can't say you would never 20 pieces. 'Cause girl, you're the only reason I'm here. Funny, yeah. Everything in me telling me that you get away. Oh, no, no, no. Love you, oh. Why you gotta look so good? Why you gotta look so good? Why you gotta look so good? So good. Why you gotta look so good? Why you gotta look so good? Average chick. You should look down everywhere you go. Don't you as fast, I wanna check. 'Cause your friends are funny, yeah. Everything telling me get away. Oh, no, no, no. Love you, oh. Why you gotta look so good? Why you gotta look so good? Why you gotta look so good? So good. Why you gotta look so good? When you're waking up straight out of bed, or when you're at the job just taking a break, girl, in the club, turning up, I'm giving more. Why you gotta look so good? Why you gotta look so good? Why you gotta look so good? So good. Why you gotta look so good?
ladies and gentlemen, I'm Dante Payne, and I'm signing off here on Drunken Sports Live. See you next week, Wednesday at 7 p.m. Holla at your boy. Peace.
So don't just sit there or lay around. Just do it with the Nike Air Versatile. Basketball, running, and training, even walking never felt so good. So grab you a pair at any local Nike store or online at www.nike.com. So grab your Nike Air Versatile and live your life. The Nike way. Just do it. Shoes are running out fast. So head to the nearest Nike outlet and pick up your pair today. So
The Illinois Media School trains broadcast media professionals. If you want a career in broadcasting, the Illinois Media School is a great start. In front of the camera, mic, or behind the scenes, IMS will help you prepare for a career in broadcasting in just 8 months, with financial aid available for those who qualify. Call the Illinois Media School in Chicago at 312-884-8000, 312-884-8000, or visit the website at beonair.com.
And we
welcome you back here field side at Stewart Field alongside Jinx Scott. I'm Ryan Fay. First half score, both teams tied at 5 apiece. And Jinx, I know we saw in that first half before we took our halftime break how we kind of described it as a topsy-turvy first half for that Scarlet Hawk squad, where they started off kind of slow, but then they finished off well. What do you want to see from them here in the second half?
I want to see them keep that momentum that they had going in that last half of the first half. So keep those goals coming and keep that tightness that they had going on over there in the field.
I know part of our keys to the game, when we talked about it with Abby Reynolds needing to be a wall, the defense needing to be stingy. We've seen all of that, just not necessarily consistently through that 30 minutes, though.
Yeah, definitely need to see that wall come back up for Debbie Reynolds over there in the goal.
So as we
can get a bigger lead here going in this half.
As we get play back underway, Scarlet Hawks now going right to left on your screen, and the Aurora University Spartans going left to right. New set of 30 minutes on the clock for the second half action, and we are underway. So off the draw, it is picked up by the Spartans and number 24, Andrea Colford, who was kind of the thorn in that Scarlet Hawks side back in that first half.
Between her and Whitfield, they were just definitely dominating over there in the offense.
And speaking of Whitfield, she has it at the top now into the zone of the Scarlet Hawks for those Spartans. And she will settle it back down, and now she'll go off to her right for that pass as it goes to Taylor Arcevar. Arcevar now back to the top for Whitfield. As she goes to her left as she finds Colford again. As Colford tried to sneak on inside there, but we talked about stingy defense need to happen there, and it happens early on as Tognetti got it there off the ground. And it goes back to Abby Reynolds, and they'll clear it out. And Reynolds just sometimes she'll sometimes take her time with it as the ball goes out of play at midfield. And because of the errant pass, it'll be Spartans' possession because we've just gotten the second half underway. Kendall Urban will have it along her left side. As it's Arcevar.
It seems like the Spartans are avoiding running it behind the net than going for the wraparound this time. I think they know that the Hawks are expecting it.
And if my math is correct, maybe when we talk about that specific play sequence that the Spartans have had, that's how they scored 3 of their 5 team goals from that first half.
Yes, but I think the Hawks are onto that and learned from that, and we're preventing it towards the end of the last half.
As
we're starting a new tactic here.
As tossing that one up towards the top that Arcevar was Whitfield. As Arcevar tried to go on in, but they're denying it again, trying to go inside. And the appreciation from the coaching staff of the Scarlet Hawks is well noted. As it's Urban trying to work around the net again. The whistle goes. And it's going to be a free position, I believe. So we'll get play back going in just a moment. So it's going to be offsetting penalties here, as sometimes I do have a little vision block with as we sit field side, and Coach Kirk Lemony offering to come on over and clarify the things with me, and that's always appreciated. So with those,
you can, right?